Can you feel it?
I'm still here. Ja, ja, ja. Wir küssen das Ganze mal ab. Ich habe ein bisschen verpennt hier, weil ich am Rumtüdeln bin hier. Ich grüße euch da draußen ganz schön. Hallo und herzlich willkommen zu einem neuen katastrophalen Stream mit eurem knieblonden Ungetüm. Ey, das reimt sich, das ist gut, das muss ich merken. Das muss ich mir merken, das ist gut. Ich grüße euch da draußen. Allen voran erstmal dem Norgard, der hat schon im Chat geschrieben. Hallihallo, Norgard, grüß dich. So, wir gehen direkt mal auf den Gaming-Bildschirm. Heute möchte ich mal ein Spiel anzocken. Und jetzt kommt die Zocker-Ehe vorbei. Grüß dich. Schön, dass du reinschaust. Ich konnte jetzt noch nicht die Finger von lassen. Ich war zwiegespalten, ob ich mir dieses Spiel für diese guten 30 Euro, die es standardmäßig kosten sollte, kaufe oder nicht. Ich habe mal dies gehört, mal jenes gehört. Und so richtig geil scheint es nicht zu sein, aber es ist halt Star Trek, ne? Und jetzt hatte ich halt die Möglichkeit, es war runtergesetzt. Dann hatte ich irgendwie einen 33% Gutschein beim Epic. Ich müsste mal nachgucken, ob ihr vielleicht auch einen Gutschein habt da, wenn ihr den Epic Store benutzt. Und auf einmal, dann hatte ich auch noch Guthaben von 3,50 Euro. Keine Ahnung, wo das herkam. Wahrscheinlich für irgendwelche anderen Käufe, ich weiß es nicht. Und dann kostete mich das Spiel nur noch 10 Euro. Ich habe gesagt, komm, für einen 10er probierst du das aus. Und das wollen wir jetzt auch mal direkt machen. Also nochmal herzlich willkommen, Zocker-Ehe, grüß dich. Schön, dass du reinschaust. Und Norgard natürlich auch nochmal herzlich willkommen. So, ihr habt da auch schon die automatischen Shoutouts gesehen. Einmal für den Norgard war das da und bei der Begrüßung und auch für die Hauszocker-Dame, muss man ja sagen, die Dame des Hauses. So, und bevor ich uns noch länger auf die Folter spanne, so heißt das Ding genau, wollen wir mal direkt loslegen. Ich bin jetzt hier im allerersten Startbildschirm, habe nur die Einstellung für Sound und Bildgröße gemacht, Bildschirmgröße. Und habe noch keine Ahnung, was hier kommt. Ich drücke jetzt einfach mal auf Spielen, weil ich hatte Angst, dass das Spiel direkt losrappelt. Wir lassen uns überraschen. Meine hässliche, verschnodderte und verrotzte und nicht gekämmte, nicht rasierte, sonst irgendwas Fresse, lassen wir mal weg. Die spielt doch keine Rolle. Meine sexy Stimme, die etwas besser da ist, die muss jetzt einmal ausreichen. So, das dazu. Auf los geht's los. Klicki. Achso, das war noch nicht viel. Leerer Platz ist gut. Anfang. Jetzt aber. Dies ist ein Dramatic Lapse Adventure. Die Beziehungen und Ereignisse, die du erlebst, werden von deinen Entscheidungen beeinflusst. Aha. Klingt irgendwie nach, wie hieß das? Hat er auch zugemacht. Telltales. Okay, Vorspann. Hui. Bumm. Asteroidenkollision. Ein Standard-Shuttle der Föderation. Ist das leise? Ne, das gefällt mir nicht. Stopp. Stopp. Hauptmenü. Stopp. Ja. So, warte mal. Nee. Das ist ganz schön leise, ne? Man hat aber auch keine... Ich habe doch hier oben geklickt. Wieso redet ihr... Egal. Jetzt sollten wir es insgesamt ein bisschen lauter machen wieder. Ah, oben. Dieser. Sonst kriegt man vom Spiel ja gar nichts mit. Oh, Alter! So. Ich will den klicken. So. Nicht irgendwo anders. Das wird ja schon lustig. Wenn du die Hebel schon richtig erwischt. Musik muss gar nicht ganz so laut. So, wir wollen ja was hören. Und ich habe mitgekriegt, ja, wir brauchen Untertitel. Ich habe Deutsch eingestellt. Wir brauchen Untertitel, nützt alle nichts. So, jetzt nochmal. Spielen. Da. Löschen. Ja. Das geht ja schon mal gut los. So. Muss ja mal gesagt werden. Anfangen. So, was erzählt er? Dies ist ein Dramatic Lapse Adventure. Die Beziehungen und Ereignisse, die du erlebst, werden von deinen Entscheidungen beeinflusst. Yay.
Captain's log, stardate 57931.4. The crew is restless. After spending too many months piecing our ship back together, we're finally about to venture out on a new mission. And the crew isn't letting this unprecedented ion storm slow them down. They're ready for something different. I know I am. Perhaps more than any of them. Fortunately, nothing ever stays the same. It's entropy, the nature of the universe. Change is inevitable. And while entropy says order gives way to chaos, in this case, change is good. Our new first officer is en route to the Resolute. Jara Rydek. I know she'll bring a welcome dose of new blood to the crew.
Upsi. Und noch reagieren hier, verdammt.
Thanks.
No problem.
I'm not great with flying. But these little shuttles are the worst.
Here's a tip. Don't close your eyes. You'd think that would make it easier, but it only makes it worse. Look out the window, pick a star, and just focus on that.
I'll give it a try.
Aha. Geht schon los. Eingehender Ionensturm stand da gerade.
Sorry, I'm a little anxious.
I hadn't noticed.
I'm on my way to my first assignment. When we get to the starbase, I'm transferring on to the Resolute.
So am I.
It won't be easy for Jara to step in at the 11th hour like this. But if she's half the officer I knew she could become when she was a cadet at Starfleet Academy, she'll be the XO this ship needs right now.
Star Trek Resugence. Bin mal gespannt. Basiert auf Star Trek, geschaffen von Gene Roddenberry. Wusste ich noch gar nicht. Haha. Ist jetzt aber laut genug, oder? Kann man gut verstehen. Neuer Posten. Das sind die guten alten Uniformen, die Next Generation zum Schluss getragen hatte. Die läuft aber komisch. Melde dich bei der Sicherheit. Benutze WASD, um dich zu bewegen. Na, dann wollen wir mal. Trippi-Trappi. Das soll wohl das Ziel sein da rechts. Benutze. Achso, interagieren. Untersuchen, Aufschrift.
A starbase on the very edge of Federation space. Long way from home now.
Welcome to Starbase 128. Starfleet Operational Support Services. Können wir mal schön aus Fenster gucken. Da ist der Ionensturm. Da sind wir eben durchgedüdelt. Hier, junge Dame. Was bist denn du für eine? Hast du so einen Kamm auf der Stirn? Wer weiß, welche Rasse das ist? Welche Weltraumrasse? Humanoid hier mit so einem Dings da auf dem Stirn? Wer weiß es? Wer weiß es? Aufgepasst.
Commander? I'm not usually such a nervous wreck, by the way. I actually did well at the Academy.
Oh yeah?
Maybe you've heard of the Torvalin test?
Sounds familiar.
It's a tactical simulator that makes the Kobayashi Maru look like a picnic on Pintaris 5. Anyway, I finished in the top 20. Not just in my class. I mean,
Ferengi.
all time in the history of the Academy. So, there's that.
Only top 20, huh? So I guess there's room for improvement.
Well, it's
Gleich mal abfangen.
really, really hard.
So I've heard.
Ja, wenn der so große Sprüche klopft, dann kriegt er gleich mal einen Dämpfer hier. Nützt ja nichts.
Please place your hand here. Hold it there for a few seconds.
So, muss ich da drauf klicken? Okay. Oder ist so ein Ring am Finger. Zum Zeigefinger.
Welcome, Commander Rydek.
Wait, you're Jara Rydek? You absolutely crushed the Torvalin test. You finished in what, like the top 3?
That would be me.
Now I'm really... It's an honor to meet you, Commander. Sorry, I didn't realize before. I just came off the shuttle and was glad to be on solid ground.
The pleasure's mine, Ensign.
Paul Calloway.
Good to meet you.
I believe Commander Ermot is expecting you. He's in the concourse just ahead.
Hat
See
der
you
einen
on the
schönen
Resolute.
Scheitel, wa? Der Blondie da gerade von der Sicherheit. Finde Commander Ermot. Hier, diesen Blondie, guck mal. Hat der nicht einen schönen Scheitel? Gucken die an. Gestriegelt. Na? Wird die Hand schon schön warm? Weiter. Entschuldigung. A4 bis, 4A bis K. Okay. Gerade eben am Anfang... ja, hallo. Bist du der Zwillingsbruder von dem anderen? Na gut. Gerade stand am Kobali. Kann es sein, Kobali? Ne, Kobali, die waren ein bisschen bunter, ne? Ist das das Schiff? Es sieht so aus, als wenn er keine Arbeit hat. Ja, die machen alles digital, Dirk. Die lassen da nichts rumliegen. Mensch, da musst du doch wissen. Nichts mit Zettelwirtschaft und Aktenordner und sowas. Also hier ist ja was los. Cafeteria oder?
I remember my briefing. Commander Ermot is a Bolian. So I'm
Bolianer.
looking for someone with blue skin.
Da hinten. Ich sehe ihn doch schon. Hab ihn schon gesehen. Ich gucke mir noch ein bisschen um. Naja. Lounge. Genau, die Lounge ist das hier.
You're onto the Resolute too?
Ich müsste da vielleicht mal durch. Entschuldigung.
The ship I was hoping for.
Why's that?
Well, you haven't heard? Some kind of accident. Their warp core overloaded.
Oh, whoa. That's a big deal.
Können wir
Spent
Platz
6
machen?
months fixing it up.
Was it the captain's fault?
That's the rumor. Yeah.
Die lassen mich nicht durch. Die sind doof. Erstmal die Leute belauschen hier. Ah, ich mag diese Uniform. Das ist richtig so ein bisschen was Nostalgisches. Hier gibt es ja was zum Anklicken. Ah, untersuche Informationen. Ja?
Starbase 128 has 4 docks.
Vor Docks, also 4 Undock-Dinger, Dingsbums. Hier gibt's was zu essen? Gibt's was umsonst? Gibt jetzt die
I'll
Speise.
replicate myself a meal once I'm on board.
Ja, genau. Na, wer bist du denn? Hallo?
Excuse me, have you seen a Bolian around here?
Yes, sir. Right back there, near the replicator.
Oh,
Ah, there he is. Thank you.
Happy to help, Commander.
jetzt bin ich ein wenig verwirrt. Ist das nicht eine Orionerin? Aber mit so einem Haarschnitt? Gab es noch andere grüne Personen in der Sternenflotte? Außer Orioner? Und war nicht Tandy bei Lower Decks die erste Orionerin im... Oh, die ist aber knallrot da hinten. Guten Tag, ich laufe mal hier durch. Entschuldigung.
Excuse me.
Genau, sag ich doch. Excuse me.
Welcome to the edge of the galaxy, Commander Rydek. I'm Commander Jan Ermot, Operations Officer on the Resolute. Commander? I
So,
hope there
what is
wasn't
this
too
tablet
much
thing,
trouble
Jason?
getting here. This storm isn't making anything easy for us right now. I know conditions are less than ideal at the moment.
It was perfectly fine. No trouble at all.
I'm glad to hear it.
Ah, das macht schon irgendwie Spaß.
We're
Ich
grateful
werde
you
gleich ein
were
bisschen
able to come
nostalgisch.
fill our first officer vacancy at such short notice. From everything I've read and everything I've heard, we're lucky you were available to us. Coming from a premier starship and all. To our little research vessel.
You can spare me the flattery, Mr. Ermot. I'm here to work.
Duly noted. I'll stick to the matter at hand.
Oh ja, da ist er. NCC 92317. Interesting. Ist aber ein bisschen wenig Details, ne?
She may not look like much compared to the bigger ships, but as far as science vessels go, she can more than hold her own. And she doesn't look so bad considering 6 months ago she was nearly cracked in half, venting plasma, fighting for her life.
It was an accident?
Equipment malfunction. An accident suggests fault, but no one's to blame. It was a planned test, but the warp core was pushed beyond its limits. It destabilized the dilithium, there was a runaway reaction, and the warp bubble deformed. We thought we could reach a higher resonant frequency, but it was more than she could handle. Cost us our first officer and 22 of our crew. At the end of the day, we're all responsible for each other. That's what it means to be a crew.
To have lost so many lives. That's a high price to pay.
Too high by any estimation. But there's nothing that can be done about it now except get back to work. And make sure it never happens again. Listen. I realize you've known Captain Solano for quite some time. And I'm sure you're ready to bring your best. But I should warn you that when the captain announced you would be the new first officer, there were those who felt it was a mistake, that he should have promoted from within. So you might want to tread lightly at first. Until they come to value your contributions as much as he does.
Thank you. Always good to have a sense for what you're walking into.
I just thought you ought to know.
I appreciate it.
Starfleet has assigned us a high-priority mission to the Hotari region. I'll let the captain brief you on board. I know he's eager to see you.
Will we be mission ready in time?
We have every intention. The crew has been working around the clock to get the ship ready. There's still so much to do.
Aha. Okay, nochmal zurück. Also Bolianer hatten die nicht noch ein bisschen oder waren das die anderen, die noch so ein Atemgerät brauchten und so? Ne, Bolianer waren einfach so blau und hatten diesen Strich und diese langen Ohren. Ne, das passt schon, okay. Yara hinterließ einen gemischten ersten Eindruck bei Commander Ermit. Sie wirkte recht ruppig, aber gleichzeitig auch verständnisvoll und sie zeigte Mitgefühl für das, was die Crew der Resolute durchgemacht hatte. Klingt doch eigentlich gut, oder nicht? Heinrich Calloway war dankbar für Yaras hilfreiche Führung, als er auf dem ersten Shuttleflug nervös war. Jo, das ist cool. Wer ist Krater? Kenn ich noch nicht. Interagieren. Tricorder-Modi. Aha. Pausieren ist Enter. Okay. Mal hier könnte man noch mal ein bisschen nach. Nö, alles klar. Gut fortfahren. Wie ist denn euer erster Eindruck so? Was bist denn du für einer? Der sieht nicht gut aus.
Stuck. I got just the thing.
Nimm mal diesen hier. Das war weiter. Aufschneiden. Sieht recht gut aus. Alleine aus nostalgischen Gründen, ne? Finde ich das schon mal ziemlich gut. Achso, da muss man die Maus drauf halten. Okay. Nächste Stelle. Anklicken. Nein, die Maus da drauf halten. Sehr gut. Nächste Stelle. Ja, da oben hin. Da drauf bleiben. Drauf bleiben. Gut. Also ich denke, ist grafisch in Ordnung, ne? Ey, wo ist die Maus? Where's my mouse? Hat jemand meine Maus gesehen? Ach, gedrückt halten. Und jetzt drehen. So rum. Okay, ich habe verkehrt rumgedreht. Man muss auch die Pfeile angucken. Und die ist S. Okay. Kriegt man ein bisschen Interaktion, immerhin. Sieht schon ganz nett aus. Ganz schön schmutzig. Ah, ein neues Ding. Reinschieben. Die? Aha.
Is that?
Die unteren Decks. Ah, cool. Lower Decks. Whee! Ich bin auch mal gespannt. Also First Officer und Lower Decks. Nicht schlecht. Betazoid.
Nice work, Carter.
Ah, das ist
Nothing
Kader.
to it, Neely.
And not a moment too soon. The boss wants us down in engineering. Like, now.
Now. Lower Decks, da sind wir aber im Mannschaftsgrad, ne? Folge Edzila. Blöder Name für so ein hübsches Wesen. Nutze Schiff, wenn du dich bewegst, um zu laufen. Hopp, 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 hopp. Gut, reich. Die hoppelt dann einfach mit. Genau, schön aus dem Weg gehen. Hier kommen die Lower Decks. Turbo lebt. Ja, dreh die mal um.
Engineering.
I heard the new XO just arrived. Won't be long before we get underway.
XO.
I just hope whatever
First
Chovak
officer.
called us down for, it's something good. I can never tell with him. I'd rather not end up degaussing plasma manifolds. Hanging upside down makes me queasy.
You and me working together, we can tackle anything he throws at us.
Your optimism is positively contagious.
Ja.
Looks like we got here before.
Lieutenant Commander Chovak.
We were just looking for you, Commander.
Petty Officers Ed Solar,
Petty Officer.
Diaz. I was beginning to think you would be late. We are all hands on deck right now, which means if you are not at your post at the appointed time, I do not have someone to replace you. A point I have been forced to make to Petty Officer Edsolar on repeated occasions.
Well, Commander Chovak, isn't it true that if we were almost late, it categorically means that we were not late?
That is correct, Mr. Diaz.
I mean, if anything, Ed Solar and I are following the schedule to the letter.
Yes, perhaps I should adjust the schedule accordingly.
Nett.
So, I don't suppose you wanted us down here to check in before we go off duty?
Equip yourselves in EV suits to work on the exterior of the hull. I need you to tune the structural integrity field for optimal performance. The subspace distortions and ionic interference we are experiencing are preventing the proper calibration. But this ship must be ready to depart shortly, despite the storm. The precise nature of these disturbances are not fully understood. But many systems have been affected by the wide band of emissive activity.
Whatever it throws at us, we'll be ready. We've got the best chief engineer in the fleet.
I am a Vulcan, Mr. Diaz. Flattery is not necessary. All that I require is that you do your job. Right now, that entails critical preparations, because long-range sensors show that these disturbances will be more severe at our destination, the Hotari system. You have your orders. Do not delay.
Yes, Commander
Roger that.
Chovak. All hands on deck.
What's that?
All hands on deck. That's what Chovak said. You know what that means? It means this ship isn't ready to go out and the brass know it. So they're throwing every warm body at it. And they're going to leave on schedule. Consequences be damned.
You won't get an argument from me, Nelly. Sure seems like everyone's still scrambling.
And I get it. When has a relaunch ever gone off without a hitch? But this isn't just any old refit or any old relaunch.
Oh, whoa. Excuse me.
A lot of new faces coming on board. It's gotta be tough coming as a replacement. That's for sure.
They seem all right. Something that happened 6 months ago while they were off on another ship? Well, that's nothing to hold against them.
Yeah, you're right. I guess getting a little new blood on board doesn't hurt. Hold on. Now there's an old face I didn't expect to see again. Hey, Miranda!
You weren't gonna leave without me, were you?
Miranda, you're here?
We thought you were staying on the Adirondack.
Transfer came in at the last minute, so I figured I'd slum it on this bucket of bolts. Looks like you got her back together pretty nicely. I wasn't sure what to expect.
I'm gonna take the high road here, pretend you didn't say that, and welcome you aboard.
He's a better diplomat than I am.
He still owes me a bottle of Saurian brandy. Don't think I forgot.
Oh yeah, it's coming back to me now.
Maybe Carter can rustle up that bottle and we can give you a proper welcome. As soon as we wrap up this quick little spacewalk.
Here, let me help you.
Thanks.
So what's the word? Are you back in the security rotation?
Yep. Still running with the usual suspects.
Whoa!
Good to go.
Klopf, klopf.
See you on the other side.
Ja, so ein Spiel steht und fällt immer ein bisschen mit der Story, ne? Also. Diesen. Lecker Schmecker. Achso, laufen. Maus macht nix. Maus ruht sich aus. Ja, das sieht witzig aus, ne?
That view never gets old.
Let's go.
Eine Steamrunner-Klasse da oben. Sieh mal einer gucken.
Captain Solano should be here momentarily.
Ich warte.
You'll have to forgive me, I don't know much about Kobleods. But my understanding is you need a steady supply of duridium to keep your cell structure stabilized, or bad things start to happen. And we have plenty of duridium in sickbay, so there's no risk of running out.
Thank you.
Feel free to make yourself at home. And help yourself to whatever you like from the replicator.
Passt alles. Alles gut. Achso, jetzt darf ich. Soll ich ein bisschen rumschnüffeln? Oder? Dann gucken wir hier. Zachary
I can't
Solano.
believe he keeps this around. Don't even know where mine is.
Oop.
Can't wait to plot a course myself.
Jara Ryde. Last time I saw you, it was graduation from the academy. You'd already secured one of the most prestigious assignments possible. And you were burning with enough ambition to fuel 7 trips around the Necrid Expanse.
It's good to see you again, Captain.
I could not be happier to have you on the Resolute. My only regret is that we couldn't provide you with a warmer welcome. The arrival of a first officer to her new ship deserves a bit of fanfare. But, unfortunately, we've had our hands full with the refit.
That would be totally unnecessary. I don't need any pomp and circumstance.
You've been here all of 5 minutes, and already you're trying to make us more efficient. I like it. As I'm sure you've heard, we've had a rough go of it these last 6 months. The ship suffered some damage, but not nearly as much as the crew.
I heard that you had an equipment malfunction.
Is that what they're calling it? No, that's just someone being generous. If anything, it was a leadership malfunction. We were on the verge of a major scientific breakthrough. A quantum leap forward in warp core technology. 10,000 teradynes per second. The ability to travel at a sustained rate of speed longer and faster than we ever dreamed. What would have been the crowning achievement of my career. Right there. Within our grasp.
Oha.
Until it all went so horribly wrong.
Sehr hohe Ambitionen.
Pushed her too hard, and a warp core malfunction overloaded the system, creating a pressure gradient way beyond what the ship can handle. It was heartbreaking. We lost some of our best people. As captain, I have to take full responsibility. It was my decision to make, and I have to live with the consequences.
We all know the risks when we sign up. There are no guarantees. As much as we tell ourselves otherwise.
True. But as captain, my job is to mitigate and manage the risks as much as possible. And that's where I failed. In my defense, I will say, I might have avoided the whole ordeal if my senior staff had been willing to trust me. There was a lot of pushback from my former XO, and I think that cost me his confidence. I don't want you to pull any punches. Certainly not on my account. But once we decide on a course of action, I need everyone to fully commit to the mission. Anything short of that just won't work. And that's when things start to go sideways.
Whether I agree or disagree, I can promise that I'll be honest to a fault.
Good. That's exactly what I'm looking for. But at the end of the day, it has to be my call. Look, I'll be blunt. We can't afford another mistake. Or at least, I can't. I feel like my career is hanging in the balance here. We need a win. Something to restore the crew's confidence.
I understand.
On a more positive note, Starfleet has tasked us with what they're calling a mission of the highest priority. Escorting a senior diplomat to Hotari space. Two previously peaceful and otherwise non-aggressive civilizations now find themselves on the brink of all-out war.
So it's a peacekeeping mission.
I see it as a golden opportunity to not only prove what the Resolute and her crew are truly capable of, but also a mission for which we're uniquely qualified. This ionic storm. Our long-range sensors suggest it's several orders of magnitude stronger than anything on record. A total anomaly like nothing we've seen before. And you'll never guess where it leads.
Hotari.
Exactly. Very nearly in the precise location where we're headed. Where I imagine the interference will be exponentially greater. But the diplomat will brief us on the details at the rendezvous.
But are we prepared to embark on the mission?
As much as I'd like to think that's true, I have my doubts. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. I expect we'll have some rough sledding when we arrive, so I need you to prepare the crew for the worst. There's just one more thing I want to clarify up front. The metric that for me will be the ultimate measure of your success.
What is it?
If after serving as my first officer, you don't one day find yourself with a ship of your own, then I will consider it my personal failure. When that might happen is entirely up to you. But it goes without saying, you have my full support.
It's been a dream of mine since before I can remember. So I would be honored to become a captain someday.
As long as you're willing to do the work, you have my promise. I'll do everything in my power to see that it happens.
Thank you.
Come, let me introduce you to the crew.
Ah, der ist positiv gestimmt. Hui. Ey, mach die Tür auf. Manchmal ruckelt es ein bisschen. Ja, die altdesignten Stühle.
Everyone, if I could have your attention for a moment. I'd like to introduce Commander Jara Rydek, our new first officer. Some quick introductions. This is Lieutenant Handar, our helmsman, one of the best in the business.
One of?
What he lacks in humility, he more than makes up for in ability.
A pleasure to meet you, Commander.
Joanna.
Likewise.
Next, we have Commander Westbrook, our Chief Science Officer. I've come to rely on his expert counsel on a regular basis.
Pleasure.
Commander Rydek, it is such an honor to meet you.
This is our tactical officer, Lieutenant Bedrosian, who's been looking forward to meeting you for about as long as I can remember.
I've been following your career for quite some time. And I look forward to learning as much as I can from you.
That's very kind of you to say. I'm happy to be here.
Well, I have to admit, one of the reasons I've followed your career is because you're part Kobliad. Because of what you've overcome. Starfleet stands up for people who can't defend themselves. And you were one of those people once. But since then, you've done so much to protect others who need it. I really admire that. So, you've been something of an inspiration to me. Not that I've done anything close to what you've done, but you definitely set a standard to strive for.
You really do know a thing or two about me. I'm glad I could inspire you, but it's important to chart your own path.
Thanks. You can count on it.
Der Ton, der wechselt auch, ne? Kann das sein?
And then, of course, you've already met Commander Ermont. Please, do everything you can to make Commander Rydek feel at home here. I'll be on the starbase. Have an urgent meeting with the starbase commander to get our authorization to get underway. If they drag their feet any longer, we won't make our rendezvous. The bridge is yours.
Der Lieutenant muss stehen.
Tactical hollow dais. Just like they've got on the Excelsior.
Interessant, interessant, interessant. Kann man so wieder reinfahren?
The helm. The Resolute is a refitted Centaur class, meaning it's capable of quick maneuvers. Can't wait to see what she can do.
Gibt's ja auch was? Hallo? Ne, da bei dir nicht? Okay.
Science station. The Resolute is a science vessel, primarily. Might explain Commander Westbrook's attitude. I'll have to speak with him later.
Alles mal in Ruhe angucken.
Tactical station. Hopefully a diplomatic mission won't require we use our weapons much. But if it comes to that, we'll be ready.
Okay.
So many decks. Full of crew that are now my responsibility.
Okay. Communications.
Communications. Keeps us in contact internally and with other vessels.
Sag bloß.
Operations. Staffing, supplies. There's a lot to keep track of on a starship. Good thing we have Commander Ermont.
Commander, Chief Engineer Chovak needs to lower the structural integrity field. He's sent a crew out to recalibrate the emitters in response to the danger posed by the storm. We just need your go-ahead.
Permission granted.
Lowering structural integrity field, now.
Entering maintenance mode. Condition blue.
Blauer Alarm. Hui. Maintenance. vom Sturm
The storm is
erfasst.
getting worse.
Looks like they turned off the SIF.
Great. Let's get to that emitter.
Pause. Mal gucken. Aha. Captain Solane fühlte sich nach ihrem ersten Treffen bestätigt durch Jaras keine Ahnung, Bescheidenheit und ihr Führungspotenzial. Immer noch hat sich nichts geändert. So, Carter, was war Carter? Petty Officer Maris. Na, wieso das denn? Lordi, grüß dich, schön, dass du reinschaust. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Trinke mal einen Schluck Wasser. Prost. Grüß dich, Lordi. Grüß dich. Was heißt denn hier? Oh Mann! Grüß dich, schön, dass du reinschaust. So, schau mal. Miranda fühlt sich durch Carters herzlichen Empfang an Bord des Resolute ermutigt. Sie hat Hoffnung, dass die Chemie zwischen ihnen beiden stimmt. Das ist schön. Grüß dich auch. Lieutenant Commander Schowak, der ist nicht so toll. Lieutenant Commander Schowak fand, dass Carter vorlaut und hochmütig war, als er und Edzilla fast zu spät in den Hauptmaschinenraum. Fast, also immer, aber das ist ein Vulkanier, ne? Hohe Ansprüche. So, komm, weiter. Nein! Fortfahren. So, A, links gehen. Ja, Grüße zurück.
Every time we're out here, I half expect to see her in pieces again.
She's still got some scars on her. It adds character.
When I joined Starfleet, all I wanted was a ride out of town. But this isn't exactly how I pictured it.
On the outside of the ship?
No. Sometimes it feels like we're just part of the machinery. Don't you want more than that? I mean, Starfleet is noble and all, but it's still a machine. A massive, massive machine.
Yeah, of course I do. Starfleet's an open door. We just have to walk through it. You wanted to get away. I enlisted because I didn't want to wait years just to get out and see the galaxy. I wanted to go somewhere. See new worlds. Look up at a sky no one's ever seen before. Just because I'm cranking a hyperspanner up in a Jeffries tube today doesn't mean that's all I'll ever be.
Das ist eine richtige Frohnatur, der Kerl.
Commander Chovak. We are at the SIF emitter.
Acknowledged. You may proceed with the recalibration.
Equipment Case. Was brauchen wir jetzt? Diesen Kalibrierungswerkzeug. Nehmen wir doch.
Beginning recalibration.
Punkt 1. Also der. Hä?
Careful. Too much action and harmonics will deflect the alignment.
Wie geht das? Ach so. Ach komm schon. Reicht er schon?
Looks good. That wasn't so hard.
Ach ja. Über die Punkte halt gucken. Was ist da los? Was ist da los?
Commander Westbrook, right? Chief Science Officer.
You remembered my name and my rank. Impressive.
Arschloch.
Yes, I'm the Chief Science Officer, and I have the dubious honor of being the most senior officer on this bridge. I know this ship inside and out. Better than just about anyone.
You seem to think very highly of yourself.
With good reason. I'm curious, though. A Kobliad, or half in your case, is an odd choice for first officer, given your vulnerable condition and all. But if, as an example, we found ourselves in a hostile situation, and you were suddenly incapacitated because you needed an infusion, what would happen then? You'd leave Captain Solano without an XO. Granted, that would be a worst-case scenario, but not outside the realm of possibility.
In my entire career, it's never been an issue, or caused the slightest problem. And I don't expect this to be any different.
I was just curious, that's all. Listen, can I be blunt, Commander?
I see no reason to stop now.
Commander Sutherland, your predecessor, was one of the best first officers in all of Starfleet. His record was impeccable and his reputation was without equal. I mean no disrespect, but the shoes you're stepping into are almost impossible to fill. He was loved by the crew. And he was one of my closest friends.
I don't think I could ever replace Commander Sutherland. And it would be a mistake to even try.
Seeing as Captain Solano is on the starbase, let me give you an update on this ion storm we're flying into. It's unusual, unlike anything I've ever seen. At the moment, I can't tell you if the Resolute will shrug it off or if we're putting ourselves at risk. However, if we learn more about its patterns, its nature, we can come up with a scientific countermeasure. Just a moment.
Oh, überall diese roten Lichter. Sind die alle erkältet? Brauchen die eine Rotlichtbestrahlung?
We've got a massive energy wave inbound.
On screen.
Tracing its trajectory.
Starbase docking clamps are holding.
The storm's emissions are fluctuating, coming in waves. And if
Sag
my
ja, Mann.
projections are right, we're about to get hit by a wide-band burst of ionic energy. Like a tsunami.
I'm reading power abnormalities all over the
Red alert.
Aye.
Rote Licht nicht gut.
Evacuating main gangway and retracting.
Putting sensor visualization on screen.
With the structural integrity field shut down, we can't take a direct hit.
Time to impact. 1 minute.
Shield systems are severely impacted. We have limited protection.
I need every available solution. What are our options?
We can weaken the impact of the storm with a deflector pulse.
There's a better way.
I'm sending all auxiliary power to the deflector dish.
Send the aux power to the shields. We can't reactivate the entire shield bubble, but it's a directional threat. So we can orient all we have towards the wave. You have to believe me.
We only get one shot at this. We can't afford to get it wrong.
That's right, which is why we need to send power to our shields.
Petrosian, get those shields up.
Rerouting power to shields. Stand by. I need a heading. We've only got one shot.
Understood. On my command.
Heading locked.
Raise shields.
This is it!
All hands, brace for impact.
So, zack, Spiel vorbei oder geht noch?
What happened? We have experienced a surge of radiation.
Oh, you don't say.
This radiation supercharged the plasma, forcing it to backflush through the system and creating a dangerous imbalance.
Uh-oh.
Blow out every primary system on the ship.
Just tell us where you need us.
I need you to traverse the hull to the access port to recalibrate the port nacelle plasma regulator.
Ach du Scheiße. Quer über Schiff laufen oder was?
We've reached the first access point.
Understood. Do you see the override for the level 1 failsafe circuits?
Affirmative.
Yes.
Engage the override. It should allow us to stop the EPS flow to the warp engine without triggering an automatic core shutdown.
Failsafe override engaged.
Are you sure? I am registering some crosstalk in the bypass circuit.
We need to route the signals so they don't
Ja, glaub ich
interfere
auch.
with each other.
Interlocks. Darüber. Klick. Einfach austauschen oder was? Gut, da rein.
Diaz to Resolute. The failsafes are temporarily disabled. Moving on to the EPS regulator.
Klappe zu.
Heads up, Carter.
What is that?
One of the discharges coalesced.
It's coming right toward us. I'm gonna try to disrupt it with my phaser.
Hat funktioniert.
So we gotta climb up the pylon. Not that there's really an up, but, you know.
Oh, unter Zeitdruck. 4 Minuten. Unten noch was. Ah ja. Oh ja. Ja. Uha. Hey, kommen wir neu. Was soll das? Piu, 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 piu. Hey. Das war nicht ungefährlich, ne?
We're almost to the regulator.
Alter. Wie viel kommen denn noch? Vorsicht, ich schieße mal ein bisschen an dir vorbei. Das gibt's doch nicht.
We're at the regulator. Opening the access panel.
I am now halting the EPS flow to the port nacelle. We have little time before it causes an overload in the engine. You must work efficiently.
Ja, ich gebe mein Bestes. Ja, machst du mal auf jetzt hier, du! Ja. Kurbel. Weiter. Aha. Okay.
EPS manifold adjusters reset to neutral.
Overflow Disable. Achso, die muss ich übereinander legen, oder was? Also, immer mal gelb. So. Oder wie? Das klingt gut. Was ist das?
The EPS lines to the port warp engine are back in balance. Almost done. Once I cycle the manifold nozzles, Chovok.
Oh oh. Ey, der macht Kratzer auf Schiff. Darf der das? Oh, Scheiße. Kaputt. Oh oh.
Get down! Diaz to bridge. We just lost the docking clamp. We've got a lot of debris coming down. All vibrations, too. We can't finish the EPS regulation in these conditions. Please advise.
We have to release the ship from that other docking clamp or the hull will be ripped apart.
There's a problem. The clamps are supposed to disengage automatically in an emergency, but it's not working.
not working.
What are our options?
The docking clamps are fitted with exploding bolts for an emergency release.
We've got crew out there. That'd be like setting off a bomb next to them.
Maybe there's another way.
Starbase is hailing us.
Put him through.
Resolute, the remaining mooring arm is failing. You need to disengage from the starbase now. The damage to the station will be catastrophic.
The docking clamp isn't functioning. We're exploring our options.
The option is to detonate the emergency release.
Commander, hear me out. Reverse the polarity of the hull, which theoretically will repel the docking clamps.
And repel the engineering crew right off the hull into the storm.
This is Captain Solano. Put me on screen.
Go ahead. Captain, we have a situation.
Commander, what are you doing? Blow the bolts on the docking clamp.
The captain doesn't know the whole story.
I'm giving you an order. Chara?
Captain, you brought me here because you trusted me. Can you trust me now?
You better be sure you make the right decision.
The captain made himself quite clear.
They're gonna get hammered with debris out there. Reverse the polarity.
There is protocol.
And there are lives.
Starbase, stand by. We're gonna flip hull polarity to disengage the clamps.
Yes, Commander.
Naja, machen wir keine Freunde.
This is Acting Captain Jara Rydek. Be advised, we are going to reverse hull polarity to free us from the remaining docking clamp. Tether yourself and deactivate your boots on my mark.
Understood.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mark!
Ui, das war knapp.
Grab my hand. I got you.
Thank you.
Plasma imbalance is reaching critical condition. We are moments from primary system failure.
I got it.
Na, beweg dich! Klemmt oder was? Kräftig hier! Los! Wieso geht das denn nicht? Schneller muss das gehen. Los, kräftig jetzt. 2W. Okay. Ja, war schon wichtig. Wir haben die 2 Peoples gerettet, damit die uns retten können. Au. Boing. Bleibst du hier? Kannst du jetzt nicht einfach abhauen.
I got you. Petty Officer Etzelar's hurt and unconscious. I'm gonna have to tow her back to the airlock.
Mr. Diaz, the situation has changed. You are at risk of triggering a substantial electromagnetic arc if you approach the main hull the way you came.
But Commander, the way we came is the nearest airlock.
There is an auxiliary hatch near you on the far end of the pylon. You must bring Miss Etzelar there to access the interior.
Roger that. Going there now.
Na los. Oh. Trümmerregen. Alter, beweg dich.
I'm at the auxiliary hatch.
Na, jetzt aber mal zügig. Aufmachen.
You go first.
What?
Let me save your neck this time. No time to fight me on this. Get in there.
You better be right behind me.
They're safe. Bringing the SIF fully online.
Do it.
Oi.
Carter!
I'm okay. But that's a lot.
Here, let me help you. Medical. We've got one wounded at my location. Millie.
Oh, man.
We'll see you at sickbay.
Oh, sie lebt immerhin noch.
Status report.
The repair crew made it inside. EPS flow is back to nominal levels. The SIF is back up.
How does this affect mission readiness, Mr. Ermot?
Releasing the docking clamps using hull polarity minimized damage to the Resolute. We'll have some last-minute repairs to make, but if we reapportion some of the staff, we can make our departure on time. As of now, however, we are successfully moored to the station.
Good to hear. Send updates to my ready room. Commander Rydek, with me.
Hätten wir die geopfert, wäre das Schiff explodiert.
You disobeyed my orders. Well?
Respectfully, Captain, I made the right choice given the information I had.
You disobeyed my orders! And not just in front of the bridge crew, but the Starbase staff as well. That's going to get around. My name's already tarnished around the fleet. But what is it going to do to my credibility on this ship? From the top to the bottom. Bridge to lower decks.
Captain, I told you I'd be honest, so here it is. Maybe I shouldn't have disobeyed a direct order, but you were wrong. You weren't on board, and you didn't have all the information. So I made the right decision for the ship. If you're worried about your credibility, put your ego aside and trust your crew. Trust me.
You might have won some fans on the bridge with that stunt, but not everyone. Lieutenant Commander Chovak has already bent my ear.
I'm sure he doesn't take it personally. He'll get over it in time.
Mr. Chovak is more complicated than he would want to admit. I guess we all are. And, if I'm being honest, I'm not sure what I would have done in the moment either. You never really know if you weren't in those shoes. So, let's just boil it down to, you did what you had to.
You placed a lot of trust in me, bringing me here. I feel like I've let you down.
I brought you here for a reason. I'm still sure it was the right one. Despite it all,
Sehr diplomatisch geantwortet.
So if you'll fetch Mr. Ermot, we'll knock out the final details of any outstanding repairs, and then we'll set out for Hotari.
Yes, sir.
Dismissed habe ich verpasst, oder nicht gehört. Schon wieder ein Steamrunner. So. Bereit zum Aufbruch. Muss denn da wieder einer raus und das wieder umstellen? Oder stellt sich das von alleine um? Nee, ne?
All departments reporting full mission readiness. We've got our full complement on board.
This is my favorite moment, right now.
The start of a new mission is always full of possibility.
The Orion Syndicate could sell it as a drug.
Don't let the Admiralty hear you say that.
captain on the bridge.
Sit. Sit, everyone. You all know, I'm not big on speeches.
Eben war doch nur ein Sitz da, jetzt sind da zwei.
First mission since our refit. Let's make it a good one. Disengage docking clamps.
Docking clamps released.
Thrusters ahead, Mr. Handar.
Der klassische Vorbeiflug. Alles so ein bisschen, ne, retro, alles so. Finde ich cool, gefällt mir.
That should do it. Set a course for the Hotari system. Prepare to go to Warp 8.
Aye, Captain.
You know what? You take this one.
Me? Engage.
Phew.
Simple, but effective.
Easy.
Thank you. I'm fine. Really,
You don't look so good.
Oh. Oh oh. Der Ring ist rot.
I have to get to sickbay.
Go.
Commander, help me get her inside.
Boing. Das ist natürlich ein ganz schönes Manko, ne? Aber jede Spezies hat so ihr... Ne? So, habt ihr mich wieder aufgefüllt? Lila.
Well, that was quite a scare. A few minutes more and it would have been one of the shortest tenures on record for a first officer.
Is that the engineer that was out on the hull?
That storm did a real number on her, but she'll live. Just needs rest. You should worry about yourself. Your deridium levels got dangerously low and destabilized your cell structure.
This is definitely one of the more memorable first days I can think of.
My name is Dr. Aram Duval, Chief Medical Officer. To be honest, I've never met a Kobliad before.
Kobliad?
You're rare. I know.
I was going to say special. Your people's numbers have dwindled, despite the Federation's efforts to find a more readily available alternative to the deridium you need to survive. Yet you joined Starfleet, and managed to thrive. I imagine the responsibility must be overwhelming. Maybe even a burden at times.
It does make me unique, but it's not a burden at all. I'm honored to be Kobliad, to represent my people.
As you should be. And don't worry, I won't treat you like a science experiment. I just do the science and leave the experiments to Solano.
You don't agree with his methods?
I don't agree with his definition of acceptable risks. Not when the lives of your crew are at stake. My professional opinion is that the accident took a toll. More than he's willing to admit. He's overstressed, operating in the pressure cooker of his own mind. Which is never a good headspace when the lives of your crew are at stake. What concerns me is that now he's even further away from the thing he's been chasing his entire career. Breakthrough discovery. The major innovation. Something he can put his name on. But the more the time passes and the further out of reach it gets, the more risk he'll be willing to take.
I hear you. But that's my job, isn't it? To make sure that doesn't happen. And we don't lose sight of the bigger picture.
Which is exactly why I'm so glad you're here. We need you now more than ever. And I have to give you credit for what happened on the bridge. It took guts to defy a direct order.
Huh. I guess word travels fast around here.
It's a small ship. And everyone's curious about the new XO. Fortunately, your cell structure's almost completely stabilized. And I'll spare us both the lecture, but I do feel it's my responsibility to remind you, without regular infusions of Duridium, you will not live. It's as simple as that.
Understood.
Then, my work here is done.
Lieutenant Bedrosian.
I came to see if you were okay. We were all pretty worried on the bridge. No one knew what was happening.
I don't want anyone to worry. This is just part of who I am. It doesn't define me.
Of course. I completely understand. And I would probably feel the same way if I were you. You trusted me earlier with the shields, and I appreciated that. I want you to know that I have your back.
Thank you.
Na, haben wir deine Freundin, ja?
Complete the diagnostic sequence, and this shuttle will be cleared for service.
Yes, sir.
Storm in the Hotari
Yeah,
region will
Captain.
interfere with our transporters. So we need all available shuttlecraft in working order.
Excuse me, Commander Chobach.
Petty Officer Maris, I will leave you to your work.
I stopped by sick day and saw Millie. I figured you'd want to know.
Did the doc get her fixed up?
She's stable. There's something about the storm's radiation that's making it hard to heal the energy burns.
That doesn't sound good.
She's toughing it out. Dr. Duval said she'll be back on duty soon, though.
Come on. I have to run the final diagnostic.
I can't stay long. I've got a long to-do list before we get to Hotari, and things are piling on faster than I can check them off. We're making all our last-minute checks and security, too.
Well, nothing's ever 100%, but we'll be good to go.
And if you wait until you are ready, it's probably too late. Which is why I didn't want to wait for just the right time.
Uh-oh.
I had a chance to think about this while I was away. Then you and Millie almost got killed out on the hull. And I thought it was important that I just come out and tell you. Instead of tiptoeing around it. Or worse.
Miranda, is everything all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. Maybe even better than fine. What I'm trying to say is, we've been really good friends for a long time. But I got back here and I couldn't ignore it anymore. I want to see if there's more between us than just being friends.
This is all kind of unexpected.
I didn't expect this either. But here we are. And I didn't want to ignore it. I just figured I'd steer right into it. Well, what do you think? I've been about as direct as I can stomach. You can do that too.
I like you too, Miranda. Let's see where this goes.
Okay. I was really hoping you'd say that.
Das hat man doch von Anfang an gemerkt.
Uncharted territories.
I'd call it a chemistry experiment. You know, with us.
I'm just really glad that you said something.
I've seen how you operate. I couldn't wait for you to make the first move. I'm glad to.
So whatever happens next is great with me.
Level 1 diagnostic complete.
I have to get back to that to-do list. They're probably looking for me.
Can't blame them.
Ich hoffe, dass es gut ausgeht und kein Drama wird. Drama. Ui. Dieser Blick.
Approaching the rendezvous point outside Atari space.
Helm, bring us out of warp.
Dropping to impulse.
Ooh!
Ionic interference surging, Captain.
Boing.
Shield integrity holding.
We can take it.
We are at the correct coordinates to meet the shuttle.
Commander Rydek, find us our diplomat, if you will.
Aye, Captain. Let's reduce the noise. Filter out environmental signals. I can manually tune what's left for Federation signal types.
Ja, mach ich doch. Ach, eine Runde drehen. Ah. Oh, da ist
I've
es.
located the shuttle.
Opening comms.
On screen.
Shuttle to Resolute. Shuttle to Resolute. Debris field. Lost maneuvering. Losing.
I can't get it any clearer.
It won't get a transporter lock. It's just not happening.
Power up the tractor beam. We'll pull them directly into the docking bay.
Diaz, you good to run the tractor emitter?
Yes, sir.
Sagt er zu jedem Captain oder was?
Come on, Diaz.
Yes, Sir heißt aber Ja, Sir. Jawohl. Oder sonst irgendwas.
First thing, lock onto the shuttle and stabilize the rotation.
Was? Sieht gut aus. Oh.
We're pulling in debris.
I'm on it.
Muss ich jetzt was tun? Benutze den Traktor. Und jetzt? Oh, 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 oh. Oh, oh. Warning, 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 warning. Kommt noch mehr.
That's gonna take out the shuttle. Diaz, the bridge. There's a large piece of debris headed for the shuttle. The tractor beam can't handle it.
Can our shields take it?
I believe so.
Commander Rydek, plot an intercept course.
On it.
Nu? Aha.
Here we go. Maneuvering thrusters bearing 53 Mark 17. 200 meters on an intercept course.
Maneuvering.
Got it.
Whoa! Someone's working hard on the bridge.
Schmeiß hin. Moin.
We got the shuttlecraft on board.
Good job. We're on our way down to meet them.
Terra firma, so to speak.
Ambassador Spock. The captain will be right down to meet you, sir.
In that case, I will wait for him here.
Was ist die Originalstimme, oder? Der ist schon einige Jahre tot. Der gute Leonard Nimoy. Cool. Wird ihm nochmal so ein...
Apologies for the landing, Ambassador. I was operating the tractor beam, sir. I take responsibility.
It was not the smoothest transit, but you got us here safely. That is what matters. We thought we were prepared for our arrival in Hotari space, but it is evident my craft was not sufficiently robust for such intense ionic activity.
The storm has been pretty intense.
There was an element that was most unusual. Before you came to our aid, our maneuvering thrusters and impulse engines were rendered inoperable. So we attempted a short traversal at warp speed, only to find that we could not achieve warp at all, even though our diagnostics computer showed no faults or anomalies. What do you make of that? When all indications say that warp speed is possible, but in practice, we find it is not.
I'd rather investigate than speculate.
A sound principle.
Take readings, run some additional diagnostic checks, and we'll get to the bottom of this.
Quite logical, Petty Officer...
Carter Diaz. Sir.
Thank you.
Ambassador Spock.
Excuse me.
I'm honored to have you aboard. I'd like to get right to it. We're already behind.
Na, haben wir einen Stein im Brett bei Spock oder was? Achso, ja, stimmt, wir sollen ja Krieg verhindern.
Ambassador Spock, my senior staff. It's not every day that a captain gets to welcome a Starfleet legend aboard.
You flatter me, Captain Solano. But legend implies the past tense, whereas I am very much focused on our present circumstances.
I didn't mean to suggest you were stuck in the past. You're right, Ambassador. Not the most diplomatic choice of words.
Your experience comes from the past. But our present situation calls for it.
True enough.
We were hoping you could fill us in on the details. We got the basics from Starfleet. Two formerly peaceful neighbors are now on the brink of war.
Indeed, and the tension between them grows fiercer by the hour. Lydia and Hotari. The Lydians are the more advanced species. They made first contact with the Hotari over a century ago. This is Tau, the Hotari moon. It is rich in dilithium, and for decades, the Hotari and the Lydians have shared a mining operation there. The Lydians provide the technological resources, while the Hotari have served as the labor force. The stability of that arrangement was the source of their peace, until recently. The Hotari have suddenly and forcefully seized control of the mining operations and expelled the Lydians from their system. That is the official story, as told by the Hotari when they requested Federation mediation. But the details remain scant. Communications between all parties have been limited by the ionic interference.
How is it the Hotari were able to turn the tables and take the mines against superior forces, especially after decades in this arrangement?
Unclear. The answer to that question may be the key to a new, lasting peace, and one that I hope we can uncover during these negotiations. But it is unlikely the relatively primitive Hotari forces would stand a chance against the Elydian fleet if this escalates to open war. Left unchecked, this conflict will result in more bloodshed, which is what we are here to prevent.
And the dilithium trade hangs in the balance.
Clearly, the Hotari have been exploited in this relationship.
Maybe we can persuade them peace is the more profitable alternative for everyone. They both profited from the mines. And for the Hotari, something is better than nothing. Peace is our objective, after all.
That is correct.
If we could convince them, it would restore the peace. But we would need the Hotari to accept a difficult compromise.
Made all the more difficult by the emotions flaring on both sides, no doubt.
Neither the Elydians or the Hotari are members of the Federation, so we can't make them do anything.
There is an additional complicating factor I should mention.
Hab ich gar nicht erwartet.
In the past, the Federation has relied on the Elydians as a source of dilithium.
Uh-oh.
That certainly changes things.
Federation sources its dilithium from a lot of places.
Yeah, and this is one of them.
That means the Hotari have no reason to trust us.
I wouldn't go that far, Commander.
We are completely neutral in this matter, on neither one side nor the other. Any suggestion otherwise would compromise our position. Given the Federation's involvement in the Elydium dilithium trade, Captain Solano and I must make every effort to appear neutral in these negotiations.
What worries me is if this whole thing unravels, and we're at the mercy of the storm at less than full strength.
We can't let it come to that.
Considering what the Ion Storm has done to our ship, and the Ambassador's shuttle, we have to assume the Elydian fleet has had problems with it as well. This recent surge in the energy disturbance temporarily levels the playing field.
Commander Westbrook is correct. The energy anomalies around the Hotari systems have been noted in the past. But they have never been observed on the orders of magnitude we have seen in recent weeks.
If it's keeping the two sides talking instead of shooting at each other, that actually helps us negotiate a peace.
And we'll take advantage of that as long as it works in our favor.
And when it doesn't?
All the more reason to learn as much about it as we can while we are here. We do not want to be caught unprepared, should the energy anomaly continue to fluctuate. So I trust we understand our circumstances.
We're operating on a strict timetable here, and we're going to be leaving for the negotiations shortly. Commander Westbrook, I want you to leverage our systems to investigate the anomaly from here while we're gone.
Aye, Captain.
Thank you all.
Dismissed.
Entlassen.
I want
Wegtreten.
to speak to both of you privately.
Oha.
Ambassador Spock, I'd like to make a formal introduction. My first officer, Commander Jara Rydek.
Commander, as you are aware, there are limits to what Captain Solano and I can do in our official capacity as representatives of the Federation. But someone in an unofficial capacity, your first officer, for example, would not be bound by those restrictions. Commander Rydek could ingratiate herself to certain parties behind the scenes, where they may be more candid in revealing information that could lead to a resolution.
She certainly goes her own way. Maybe that helps in this case. It would be unconventional, but I'm not opposed to it.
With all due respect, Ambassador, I'm not a trained diplomat.
That's exactly what we're going to leverage.
I began my time in Starfleet as a science officer, not as an ambassador. We must be adaptable in the line of duty.
Well, I hope Commander Rydek will have more luck finding out what really happened than we will through official diplomatic channels.
The fate of the negotiations, the interests of the Federation, and the prospect for peace.
So.
may very well
Bau bloß keinen Druck auf, Junge. Kann mir gleich so einen Tank von dem Deuterium oder was das ist auf Wolken binden oder was, ne? Aua. Navigationsprobleme.
Mr. Diaz, I understand you have already discussed the warp drive failure with Ambassador Spock?
I have.
It is imperative that the Ambassador's shuttle be flight ready. I need you both to ascertain the root cause of the system failures he encountered.
I'm surprised, Commander. I thought you would have wanted to work on Ambassador Spock's shuttle yourself.
I respect the Ambassador and his many accomplishments, but I do not derive any satisfaction from interacting with his shuttle as if it were somehow transubstantiated through its association with him. Especially when I have the entirety of this starship to concern myself with. I am not the chief engineer of this shuttlecraft.
The Ambassador asked me to take a look, and I'm ready to crack this thing open.
Good. You could learn from Mr. Diaz's focus.
I'll take notes.
Then I will leave you to it. Make note of any abnormalities in your report. Carry on.
One nice thing about Vulcans. Chovok is the only person who didn't look at this and treat me like I was something to pity. Doc says I should get used to it. Doesn't mean I want to be reminded of it every minute of the day.
Hey, you won't get pity from me. I think it makes you look tough. As tough as you really are, that is.
And that makes you sound pretty smart. I might need you to save me from myself next time, though. Come on. Let's get to the bottom of this.
Weiß ist neutral. Hm?
Ready to go?
All set. Let's run the diagnostic.
Ich würde sagen, so. Oh. Ey. Na, triffst du? Ah, ist der wackelig.
So. I know about your talk with Miranda.
You do?
She sent me a Priority 1 dispatch right after your conversation. I'm happy for you. Both of you.
Thanks.
But I'm only going to tell you this once. Don't screw this up. Because I would be very unhappy if you tried this out and then, I don't know, 6 weeks or 6 days later, I have to start splitting holidays between the two of you. All because things went south and you're not on speaking terms. That just isn't gonna work for me. And I know you'll respect that.
Are you upset?
Not on your life, Diaz. But you need to be careful. I like my friends and I like our group. I don't want to lose that. Is that thing done?
Yeah, it's wrapping up. Let's see. The relays along the primary EPS are blown. The backup relays are all intact.
An EPS overload from the warp drive could cause that. But how did the shuttle end up dead in the water?
Huh. Well, maybe the ship's data recorder can tell us something.
Jo, viel Spaß bei der Weihnachtsfeier. Jo, danke.
Here.
They were only about 8 minutes from their plotted warp point. No faults, just those warnings. What are they?
Ey, damit zu treffen, der wackelt hin und her.
Subspace variance out of tolerance. What does that mean?
It means the main navigation array lost sight of space somehow.
Will the array going offline cause that?
Yes, but it should have also thrown a fault code.
The warp field became inverted suddenly.
I've seen this happen when the center warp coil cracks.
A cracked warp coil throws a fault code.
Still, we should take a look.
There was a complete warp cascade failure.
Wow. They're lucky the shuttle didn't turn inside out.
Makes me think the computer panicked on the warp field equation.
Any one of these failures should have thrown a fault.
If it was caused by a system failure.
None of this caused the relays to blow. Roll forward to when that happened.
Yes, ma'am.
So here, they take a moment to get their bearings and they attempt to re-engage the warp drive.
There. That's the relays blowing.
And look, there's another warp system alert.
They're all the same. Subspace variants out of tolerance, or warp inversions. Finally, there's a complete warp cascade failure.
Then it's one of two things. Either a warp coil is cracked, or the navigation array is offline.
That makes sense.
Divide and conquer. You want to check the warp coils or the navigation array? I'll check the other. Let's not overcomplicate this. One of these systems is likely broken.
I'll check the nacelles for a cracked coil.
Ja, Tricorder-Benutzung. Ein Tricorder kann Daten aufzeichnen und analysieren. Wenn du ihn benutzt, wirst du sofort ungesehene Dinge entdecken. Benutze 2, um deinen Tricorder hervorzuholen oder zurückzustecken. Halte linke Maustaste gedrückt, um leuchtende Objekte zu scannen. Du musst nah an manchen Objekten sein, um sie scannen zu können. Achte auf den Rand des Bildschirms, um zu sehen, wie weit du weg bist. Außer Reichweite. Okay. Anomalie erfasst. Das ganze Ding oder was? Manche Dinge, die du scannst, aktivieren einen Tiefenscan. Benutze während eines Tiefenscans Q und E, um zwischen den verschiedenen Scan-Modi hin und her zu wechseln und nach leuchtenden Objekten zu suchen. Die Modusanzeige aus dem Tricorder blinkt, wenn es ein Objekt in dem Modus zu finden gibt. Wenn du alle Objekte gescannt hast, ändert sich die Farbe des Rahmens. Halte rechte Maustaste gedrückt, um die Daten zu analysieren und den Scan abzuschließen. Habe ich nicht verstanden, machen wir trotzdem. So, vom Ada. Chem, Bio, was? Rad? Das sieht komisch aus. Zeugen von Routinearbeiten, Abrieb, zu reparieren. Was? Hey? Näher ran wahrscheinlich. Keine Abweichung gefunden. Okay.
I checked every coil on the port nacelle for imbalances. If any coil in either engine were cracked, I would have detected it. So, it must be the navigation array.
Except it's not. Checked and double-checked.
Well, the readings don't lie.
Here comes the security detail for the way team.
Hey.
I'm not here.
We're escorting the negotiating team to the surface as soon as they come down from the bridge. I don't want to interrupt some important work. I was just hoping to see you before I go. The captain and the others will be here any minute now. Should be an interesting ride down to the surface.
Come on, I'm never too busy to make time for you.
That's not true.
No. But I am glad you came by.
No, that's more accurate.
I gotta be precise with you, huh?
Hey, Maris. Aren't these those button pushers you're always hanging out with?
And you're the phaser jockeys we always beat in Parisi squares, right?
All aboard for Hotari.
That another one of the captain's railroad things?
Gotta be. I just usually zone out by the time he gets to the whole, steam engines were the warp drives of their day part. Catch y'all later.
You don't want to miss your train.
I do have to go. Not gonna lie, I'd rather not leave right now. More important things on my mind.
Do me a favor. Come back safe.
Deal. Be seeing you.
Salarda Diaz.
Hallo Schnodder. Schön, dass du reinschaust.
We still have a ways to go. All right, where were we?
So, the warp coils in the navigation array are fine, but the nav computer doesn't seem to think so.
I'm out of ideas short of field stripping the shuttle from bow to stern.
You wanna take this out of the shuttle and throw it on the bench?
Oh, real hands-on maintenance. I like it. Okay, the nav computer is patched into the ship.
The ship's computer can double-check our work. If the shuttle's nav computer is putting out false data, we'll know it.
Let's run through the shuttle's logs again.
Running now. Same. Warp field inversion and a cascade failure. However, the Resolute computer doesn't show the same subspace variance.
We're in the same conditions that the shuttle was in when it failed. Why wouldn't the ship's computer get a matching result?
What if the subspace variance was a momentary occurrence?
That's a possibility, and it would explain why the simulation under our current sensor readings failed to reproduce the issue.
But a subspace anomaly strong enough to cause a warp field collapse would leave graviton ripples for days.
Let's run with the momentary subspace variance theory for now. Roll forward to the shuttle's attempt to re-engage the warp drive. We need the conditions of space around the shuttle at the moment of warp failure.
Resuming simulation.
Error in warp field calculation. Cochrane formula variables are out of range.
That right there. Take the shuttle sensor data from that moment.
Computer, why did the warp field calculation fail?
Warp field pressure returned non-orthogonal. Results are undefined.
That doesn't help.
Wait, what if we use a different ship?
Put the Resolute into the simulation instead of the shuttle.
Yeah, it should warp just fine. Unless... Computer, run the simulation with the Resolute.
Resolute simulated.
Computer, give me manual control on the warp power.
Static field intensity, warp 1.1. 1.2. 3. Warp pressure is destabilizing. Error in warp field calculation. The warp drive has experienced a system-wide cascade failure. Warp field collapsed. Subspace variance is out of tolerance. Cochrane formula results are undefined.
Bingo.
What-o?
The same moment when the shuttle failed to warp, so did the ship. Whatever happened to the shuttle just happened to us. The Resolute will not sustain warp.
We can't leave Hotari space.
Ist ja eine Falle dann, wa? Scheiße.
Ambassador Spock, Captain Solano, welcome to Hotari. We are honored you have come. My name is Teil Altaris, Minister of Diplomatic Affairs.
The honor is ours, and this is Commander Jara Rydick, first officer aboard the USS Resolute. You'll find she has a keen mind, and unique insight into the dynamics between the Hotari and the Lydians.
We are honored to be here, as representatives of the Federation.
I'm so glad.
These must be the representatives of the mighty Federation. the reigning authority in the galaxy. Or so we've been led to believe. Whether that's true or not remains to be seen. But, either way, we're grateful you've made the time to come to our little corner of the universe.
And you are?
This is Galvin, and this is Citron, the heroes of the revolt in the mines.
Let's hope this is the last time we ever have to come here.
If you'll excuse me.
I think we're about to begin.
Did you hear the arrogance from that guy? I don't know what we're walking into here, but that guy was something.
That may be true. But let's keep an open mind going into the negotiations. Hopefully he's just one voice amongst many.
Then let's hope he's the outlier.
The Hotari have invited us as their guests, so we must show them the proper respect.
Ambassador Spock, welcome to Hotari Prime.
The honor is mine, Your Majesty.
That the Federation would send one of their most respected representatives is not only an honor to the Hotari people and their queen, but a recognition of our stature and importance.
Let's get on with it, shall we? With all due respect to the Federation and their ambassador, they have no authority here. We are not members of their alliance. We are not subject to their rule, nor yours. We demand the immediate return of all mining operations to Elydian control, as it has been for centuries and will be for centuries more. That has always been our understanding.
That understanding has changed.
Then you invite war!
And if you cannot remain silent, you will be silenced. But his point is well taken. What is the Federation's interest in this matter? Perhaps you would have us trade one oppressor for another?
The Federation remains neutral. Our only interest is the peaceful resolution of this conflict. We are here at your request, Your Majesty.
For now.
I'm trying to keep an open mind here, but it's not easy. I thought they wanted us here.
Was there something you wanted to say, Captain?
Oh, no. My apologies.
And what about the Kobliad?
She's not part
She
of...
can speak for herself, can't she? Then let her.
Scheiße. Dachte, ich könnte ein bisschen Filmchen gucken. Na?
Now then, what is your name?
Commander Jara Rydek, Your Majesty.
Being a Kobliad, you would know better than anyone. Your people suffered brutal treatment at the hands of the Cardassians. Their injustice towards the Kobliad is as unimaginable as it is unforgivable. Not unlike how we have been treated by the Elydians.
As much as they'd have you believe they are the victims here, remember it was the Hotari who attacked us. Hundreds of innocent Elydians were slaughtered without mercy in those mines.
The blood is on their hands, not ours!
Quiet! If after all the Kobliad suffered, you finally had the chance to right that wrong, to get out from under their control, would you take it? Or would you negotiate a peace?
I can't speculate on something that never happened, Your Majesty. Sadly, that opportunity never came for the Kobliad.
No, it did not. But we'd be wise to learn from their example, before we too find ourselves facing extinction. The Federation is the most powerful, most advanced alliance in the galaxy. It's widely known we have an abundance of dilithium in our mines. And it's in your interest to secure a steady supply.
Your Majesty, if I may.
Ambassador Spock would have us believe you're here as a neutral party in the interest of peace. So why are you really here? I want the truth, not your Federation rhetoric.
I'm sorry, Your Majesty, but it's really not my place to say what the Federation's interests might be.
You are their representative.
I am. But Ambassador Spock is better suited to address your concerns.
What they haven't said, but cannot deny, is a simple truth. The dilithium trade would not and will no longer exist without a Lydian involvement. We created it for the benefit of everyone, especially the Hotari. We've given them warp technology. We've let them share in the profits. We've made their lives infinitely better than before dilithium was discovered. All of that goes away if the Federation turns a blind eye to their treachery.
That is enough of your lies! The Hotari are quite capable of running the mines. We've done so for centuries. So tell me, who deserves control of the dilithium trade and the mines on Tau? Who should the Federation recognize? The Hotari or the Lydians? It can only be one or the other, not both.
If I have to choose only one, then it would have to be the Hotari.
Well said. How could the just and wise Federation make any other choice?
This is an outrage. The Federation has lost all credibility.
The mines are ours. Lydia will not be deterred. We will take back our mines by any means necessary.
Then you will see more blood spilled.
I am more than willing to address your concerns, Your Majesty. Yours as well, Representative. But I suggest we could have a more productive conversation with a smaller group. Perhaps only the most essential representatives.
I suppose there is some sense to that. I hope we meet again, Jara Ryder.
Da ist wohl irgendwas schiefgegangen.
Spock and I will cover everything on the diplomatic front. You make nice with the locals and see if you can get some answers. We need to find out why the Hotari are so willing to risk war. What happened in those mines?
Ei. Was? Wollen wir das essen? Ah, na gut. Dann muss ich aufhören. Gehst du die Abendrunde? Ja. Okay. Gut, dann muss ich mal jetzt hier Schluss machen. Ja, gut. Bis gleich. So, ja. Happenpappen hat man mir gerade gesagt. Happenpappen. Happenpappen has to happen. Englisches Wortspiel. Können wir an dieser Stelle mal Return drücken. Ausweichendes Verhalten. Bla bla. Schätzt. Ja, genau. 8 Jahre hätte mitteilsamer sein können, als sie von der Hotare. Beeindruckt, Führungskonzept, bla bla bla. Beeindruckt. Blödschkopf. Naja, gut, okay. So sieht das halt aus, ne? Genau, gut, okay. Im Kader nochmal eben kurz gucken. Wie viel kann das Eifer an Bord der Stadtteil zu arbeiten? Charmante Persönlichkeit, die sich im Hangar verabschieden. Kater sei clever, indem er sie beschwichtigt, nachdem sie verärgert war, weil er auf der Hölle zuerst gegangen war. Ja, irgendwie sowas. Ja, wir machen jetzt hier Stopp und dann gehe ich Abendbrot essen und dann komme ich vielleicht Viertelstunde ist zu kurz. Eine halbe Stunde komme ich wieder, gibt jetzt ein paar Hotdogs. Eine halbe Stunde machen wir dann an dieser Stelle weiter, wa? Oder soll ich was anderes spielen? Ja, wir machen hier noch ein bisschen weiter und vielleicht dann später nochmal ein bisschen Ding Dong Days Gone. Habe ich nämlich auch Bock drauf. Aber wir machen dann gleich erstmal hier weiter. Erstmal eine halbe Stunde Ausruhzeit für euch und dann bis bald. Ciao, ciao. Wo ist der Knopf? Scheiße, wo ist der Knopf? Ich habe den Knopf verloren. Ach da.